Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar of the Statistics and Data Science Master Program at Leiden University. My name is Garnet. I'm the moderator of today's webinar, as I am the PR coordinator of the Master Program. Several people have joined me today. In this session, we have Saskia, who is our Program Director, and two of our students, Katie and Ifan. Before we begin, I'll tell you something about the structure of today's session. First, our program director, Saskia, will give a brief introduction to the master program. Then two students will tell you about their experiences in the program. Note that you can send any questions while we are speaking. We will try to answer as many questions as we can during this live meeting. You can send in your questions by scanning the QR code on our event page, or you can use the link that is on the first slide of the presentation. After the session, you can also ask your questions via chat at the information market, so be assured that there is enough time for you to ask anything that is on your mind. Let's first go to Saskia. She is the program director of our master program and will give a brief presentation about the structure and the courses offered in our program.
Okay, well, thank you, Garnet. My name is Saskia Lesessi, and as Garnet already told you, I'm the program director of this master Statistics and Data Science. And this is a master which is open to students with a bachelor in several different directions. And it will provide you with a solid methodological basis in statistics and data science. You will also encounter a lot of applications. We will focus in our master on applications in the life and behavioral sciences. And there are many applications in the life and behavioral sciences. You could, for example, go to the medical field and look at survival analysis, how the time until a certain disease starts and the time of death. You could look at all kinds of genetic experiments, omics data, big genetic data sets. You could go more to the biological or the agricultural field and looking at experiments, big experiments. And you could also go more to the social or psychology field and looking at, for example, here you see fMRI data of the brain, and you could analyze that using methods in statistics and data science. This is not a master in one institute of a university. There's a lot of different groups of statisticians and data scientists working together in this master. For example, the Mathematical Institute of the Faculty of Science is involved, but also the Faculty of Social and Behavioral Sciences through the group of Methodology and Statistics is involved. Leiden University Medical Center, where I am working, is involved through the Department of Biomedical Data Sciences. Wageningen, the University of Wageningen is involved through biometrics. And other institutes are involved as well. We work together with Statistics Netherlands, CBS, and also work with Amsterdam University Medical Center. We are also internationally, we have international recognition. We are a European Master of Official Statistics. We have the EMOS label. And that means that if you are following this master, you will encounter many different excellent researchers and lecturers, and they are expert in many different fields in statistics and data science. What will you learn in this master? This master is more than just applying a lot of different methods in statistics and data science. We will also learn you to understand the methods. So you will get a thorough understanding of it, and you will learn how to implement the methods, and also, if you see the results, how to interpret the results. You will encounter extensive skills to analyze data. And you will also get the ability to invent new methods or to apply new methods to data, new techniques. And that means that after you've done this master, you will be able to apply statistics and data science in many different fields. As I already told you, we have students with a large variety of different bachelors. We have students with a bachelor in psychology, biomedical science, biology, also students with a more quantitative bachelor like statistics or mathematics or econometrics. So we are very broad a master. We also are we have a lot of variety in backgrounds of where students come from. We are a very, very international master. We have students from all around the world, but we all love statistics and we all love data science. And that international character, I think that's one of the very big pros of this master. You may wonder whether you should apply for this master and what is required from you. And actually, you should like to statistics, you should like mathematics, because it's not only applying methods, but also trying to understanding the methods. And you should like to program, to work with computers, because there's a lot of computational methods being involved. So you should like sitting behind the computer and work with it. You should have interest in applications, specifically in the life and behavioral sciences, because that's where on those kind of applications our master focus on. And you should also like to work in teams, because being a statistician or being a data scientist, you often work in multidisciplinary teams. So you should like to work with each other. That also means that you should be able to talk English and understand English well, and that you can communicate with others. I'm also going to tell you what we are not. We are not a master in financial analytics or financial data science, and we will not train you to become a business intelligence analyst or an engineer. We are also not a computer science master. If you want to do data science more as a computer science, in the computer science field, then we would refer you to the LIACs, the computer science master, because they also have a track in data science. We are looking at statistics and data science and not computer science. When can you apply for a master? And as I already told you, you can apply with a lot of different bachelors. You need to have a basic knowledge of calculus. For the Dutch people, that's equivalent to VWO wiskunde B. A bachelor degree from a university, from research university, and you should have already followed some courses in statistics or in mathematics or in methodology during your bachelor. In total, more than 20 EC, and you should have passed these courses with a higher enough grade. And you should be able to have a good English background. Note that all the details of the requirements, you can find them on our website, on our master website. So please look at it if you want more information there. I'm going to tell you a little bit of the program, and actually the program will change next year, so it will be somewhat different from what it is this year, and I'm going to tell you how the new program will look like. It is a mixture of courses which are mandatory for everyone and courses which elective courses. And in the first semester, all courses are mandatory, so we all start with the same basics. And then in the second semester, there's a combination of mandatory and elective courses. And then in the third semester, there's even more space for elective courses. And then in the fourth semester, everyone is doing a thesis project. So yeah, the first semester, that's really building the core knowledge you should acquire. So that's a large course on statistics and probability, a course on mathematics, specifically focusing on statistics. You will learn to compute in a statistical computer language, which is called R. You will learn more about models, linear models and non-linear models, and also some more mathematics in the linear algebra part of a course. And also you will already see applications in a course which is called Statistics and Data Science in Practice. Then in the second and third semester, you will follow a combination of mandatory and elective courses, but we do that through what we call flexible learning lines. These are kind of lines through the curriculum, It's not mandatory to follow one of the line, but they will guide you and helping you to choose a coherent set of courses. So you can already during your when you're following the master already specialize in a certain direction. I'm going to give you some examples. This is the second semester and the third semester. And then, for example, it could be that you are interested in medical statistics. And then in the second semester, you'll follow the mandatory courses, plus a course which is called survival analysis. And in the third semester, then you will follow a course which is called high dimensional data analysis, statistical genetics, and then you have 9 EC left to choose other courses. You could also follow the learning line biostatistics or biometrics, and then you are focusing more on statistical methods in biology and agricultural sciences. And then in the second semester, you'll follow the course design and analysis of biological experiments. And in the third semester, you can also follow these two courses, high dimensional data and statistical genetics. You could be interested in our EMOS track in official statistics. Those are statistics being used by governments like the CBS, the Statistics Netherlands. And then you will follow in the second semester survey methodology. And in the third semester, an EMOS core module and extra ECs. And you can also be interested specifically in data science. Then you will follow in the second semester a course on data visualization. And in the third semester, you will follow courses on data mining and deep learning. And you could be interested in methods which are being used in psychology, in the social sciences, and in psychology, psychometrics and social metrics. And then you will follow in the second semester the course survey methodology. And in the third semester, you will follow a class on psychometrics and structural equation models, and a course on multivariate and multidimensional data analysis, and you also have freedom to choose more courses. I want to mention specifically in our third semester, we also prepare you on your future working environment by giving a course on statistical consulting. And that means that you are working together with what we call a client. That's a researcher from an applied field. And he or she is having questions. He has a project and he has questions regarding the statistics of that project. And then you as a statistician can work together with that. You work then as teams, two statisticians or data scientists, people of following our program, together, two students are working together with that researcher from another field in solving the problems with this particular project. In the fourth semester, every student is doing a thesis project, and there are different options from it. You could follow doing that thesis project in one of the institutes being connected to our master. You could work on a more academic thesis, on a methodological topic. You could also work in a more applied project where you analyze data in a non-standard way, it's non-standard data analysis. You could also do this thesis project outside of university. We have students doing that project somewhere in industry, is the Center of Statistics Netherlands, and other places. So that's then the end of the 2-year master. There are two possibilities. You can start in September or you can start in February. But as I already showed you, if you start in September, then you're really following the line of our program. You start with the core courses, and then later on you will get more of the elective courses also. If you will start in February, that's far from ideal, and then so we would not advise to do it. Some students do it, but so it is allowed, but we would recommend to start in September. And actually, if you want to start in February, we would say only do it if you have already a solid background in mathematics, because yeah, you're missing then the courses which were being given in the first semester. A little bit about the future. Yeah. And well, and actually at the moment the future is quite good. There is a large demand of statisticians and data scientists. So and actually, if you look in the US, they ranked data scientists as in 2021 as the job #1, the best job. And statistician, they ranked it as #3 as best jobs. And actually, I can completely agree with it because I've been a statistician already for a very, very long time, but I still like doing it very much. It's really a nice thing to do, yeah. So our student, if you are following our master, you can qualify for jobs in a wide area of applications, of a wide field range of areas. Quite some students of our program continue doing in academics, doing a PhD project. There are also students going to industry, to, for example, pharmaceutical industry or to food industry. Danone, for example, several students of us went to Danone. They can also go to other research institutes, government statistics, CBS, other institutes. Some students also go to consulting, more in the data science direction. So there is a lot of different job opportunities are there. If you have, I hope I gave a nice overview, but of course you may have a lot of questions and you can ask that to us. You can ask them now to me or to the students or to the study advisor, or you can ask them later on to other people. There is the email address, and okay, that's what I wanted to tell to you, and I hope to see you next year in our master.
Great, thank you very much, Saskia. Now we'll go to the second part of our program today, namely the students. Our first student is Katie. She is a first-year student from the US, and I believe she did her bachelor in biology in Germany. Katie, what aspects of this master interested you beforehand?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it okay? There might be a little bit of background noise because I'm in the university building right now. But yeah, so during my bachelor studies, I feel like I was able to get a firm understanding of biological research questions. And as I progressed through my degree, I eventually noticed that no matter which subfield of biology I was working in, at some point down the line, statistics and programming played a huge part in translating that theory and data into conclusions. But I felt like I didn't have the skills to contribute to research at that point. And so I felt that as these were the questions that were the most interesting to me, I wanted to get the most technical skill set possible to help really contribute. So that's why I decided to pursue statistics and data science.
Great. And how challenging did you find this master so far?
I will be honest, it is a lot of studying for me personally. I had a lot of, at the beginning of the program, a lot of getting literate in math to do, because it is definitely taught through the lens of someone who had a better understanding of math than I did. And so it was quite challenging at the beginning, but I think that as long as your interest in the subject matter and the applications is greater than your discomfort at not knowing things, then it's definitely worth it. And you know, if it weren't challenging, there would be no point in doing a master's program. So it is challenging. It does take work, but I think that's pretty much true for anyone who switches from one field to another, and also anyone who pursues higher education.
Okay, thank you. And how does it feel to be an international student in such a master program?
I feel like I forget that I'm in the Netherlands quite often because our cohort of students is so international. So if you're really looking to have an experience of what it's like to be in the Netherlands, I think you have to actively seek it out. But I think because the student network here is so tight knit in a way, there are definitely groups of friends that sort of develop, and they travel on the weekends. They'll go to Germany, they'll go to Austria, they'll go to Switzerland, anything that's sort of around here, which I think is really cool. And I think it's very accessible to be international in the Netherlands because there is such a high level of competence in English.
Okay, and given that in your year there are many international students and students with many different academic backgrounds, how are you experiencing the learning culture in this master?
I actually think it's really good. I was a little bit concerned that I would feel very unskilled compared to some of my peers who, for example, have a degree in mathematics. But I think it's quite interesting that people do have such a broad background, especially since you have many students, or I feel like there are many students who are doing this as a second master's degree even. And so I think sort of the exchange that people have about the, the fields we're working in, or just in general outside of university, is really enriched by that. And I think instead of sort of fostering a competitive nature there, it's more of like a complementary exchange. So sometimes you'll be sitting there and like, oh, I have no idea what this is, but one of your friends will know. And then you can sort of give that back for the things that you're good at, which I think is actually a very good environment to learn in.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Katie. So as mentioned, Katie is a first-year student. Our student that we have here today is Ifan. He's a second-year student from Taiwan, where he did his bachelor in public finance. So Ifan, if you could also answer, why did you choose this master program in particular?
Okay, so do you hear me? Okay, good. The reason why I chose this program is that I found the data analysis, the skill is very important because I didn't go to the master after I graduated from my bachelor program. I have some work experience, and my work experience made me feel the importance of data analysis. And also, I still remember during the time I make the application, I read many course arrangements in different universities in the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Denmark. And I found the program in Leiden is the one I like the best. The reason is that this is a 2 years program, and in which you can acquire knowledge in a steady pace. And also, the program gives you a very large flexibility in the selection of the course. For example, if you are interested in doing the statistic course, you can do these courses more. And if you are interested in do a course related to data science, then you can do these courses more.
Great, thank you. Is there any tips that you would like to give to prospective students who are considering applying to this master?
Okay, I think the most important thing is to check the entry requirements, like mentioned by the Professor Saskia. And also, I believe showing the passion in statistics and data science is very important for you to outstand from other candidates.
Yes, absolutely. I believe you're currently working on your thesis project. Could you tell us a bit more about your thesis project?
Yes. In this program, students can either choose to find a thesis project in the university or outside university. And because I want to do a PhD in the future, so I pick one in the university. And my thesis project is about Gaussian process, and this is a machine learning method, and it has advantage of giving the probabilistic predictions. However, it needs a lot of time to train the model. So there are already some methods proposed to improve the efficiency of training the model. And one of my tasks in the project is to explore one of the methods to improve the efficiency.
That sounds very interesting. Thank you. Do you have any plans for when you graduate?
I think I will keep staying in the Netherlands because I really enjoy my master's study here. And I think I will, or I already started to looking some PhD positions. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ifan. I believe we have at least a bit of time to cover some questions then. I believe our first question is for Saskia. And the question is it possible to get an exemption for core courses if similar courses have been taken already?
Yes, definitely. If you have done a bachelor in mathematics, for example, you do not need to follow mathematics for statisticians, and you can get an exemption for that particular course. And there are more courses for which you can get an exemption if you have already followed in your bachelor certain courses. And that's being done through the Board of Examiners. So you just fill in a request to the Board of Examiners, and then they will look at it, and then they give you an exemption if they agree with you about that particular course. So yes, it's possible. You do not need to follow courses which you already have followed in your bachelor. Yeah, no.
Okay, well, I think that's quite clear. Thank you. Regarding the learning line of data science, the course data visualization doesn't currently seem available in the online prospectus.
No, it's a new course. No, we are proud of it. It's a new course. We are currently designing it. So the people who are going to give it next year, they are very busy thinking about what the learning aims are and what kind of material they will put in, and what kind of book they are going, or if they're going to give a book. So yeah, I've seen the first draft of the program being there, and if you are looking again at the prospectus after June, then you will see the new courses, and then you will see the description of this new course. So it's currently being designed. So it is not there yet, but it will be there next year.
Okay, thank you. One question from a prospective student is, this student is also interested in the master's program methodology and statistics for the behavioral, biomedical, and social sciences at Utrecht.
Yep.
Do you know what the biggest differences are between that master's and our program?
Yeah, well, actually, there's a lot of similarity. The big differences are that we are a little bit more math-oriented, so that's also why the connection with the Mathematical Institute is there. And also, for example, the length of the thesis project, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a slightly, in our program, it's slightly shorter than in Utrecht. I think there you are doing a bigger internship or a thesis project. And well, we also have more possibilities to focus particularly on data science.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Saskia. Ifan, there's a question for you. How did the application process go, given that you're an international student? Was there any difficulties? Could you expand on that a little bit?
Let me think. I think all good. Especially I made application. Indeed, I make application in different countries like United Kingdom and Netherlands. But I found the Netherlands process is pretty easy compared to other countries. I think they are very international student friendly in terms of applications. Yeah, so I don't remember, or I don't think I ever come across any difficulties in terms of applications. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Katie, you're also an international student, so perhaps could you also comment on this?
I remember being very confused, but I think it's just, I don't think that the Dutch system is more confusing than other systems. I think it's just sometimes complex when you're applying to your master's, especially if you're looking at many programs to sort of keep track of, what all the different websites are, what the portals are, where you pay for things, stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely something that if you have questions, especially for our program, that you can reach out to one of the student coordinators as well.
Yes, absolutely. If there's any questions about the process, then you can always contact the email address, the PR@stat Leiden Univ.nl email address. A question for both of our students, I suppose we can start with Katie. Would you ultimately recommend Leiden as a city to study in?
Definitely. I think it's a very personal choice. I think it really depends on what you're looking for. But it is very well connected to other cities anyway. So traveling to Amsterdam, for example, or traveling to The Hague is quite straightforward. I actually live in The Hague and travel any day that I have to come to university here. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend it. I know some people look for bigger cities where there's more stuff, even more stuff to do, and some people look for smaller cities so they're less distracted. So I think it's a very personal choice there.
Great, thank you. And Ifan, could you also comment on your experiences or recommendations regarding Leiden?
Now I live in Leiden. I think I have a very good experience in living here. Although it's not a very large city, but I think it has everything you want. For example, if you want to maybe go to a big city, I mean other cities, the communication is pretty convenient. And in Leiden, I want to say, I don't know. I think the environment is pretty comfortable and maybe not as busy as other cities. And the life, I mean, maybe you want to go to a shopping mall or something, it's also convenient because there are many supermarkets here. Yeah.
I will say, in contrast to my experience having grown up in the United States, I think my expectation of, what is a big city, what is a small city, getting in between them is very different than it is in the Netherlands specifically. But I think in Europe in general, it is much more through public transportation. I find much more manageable. I think the actual train ride itself to The Hague is like 15 minutes or something. Like it's nothing. And which is probably not what you would expect if you think of two central cities when you're from other countries that are much larger.
Yes, well, the train system in the Netherlands is quite efficient, as I'm sure all of us here can agree with. Saskia, a question for you. Do you think that this master's degree could be used in the field of occupational health and safety?
I think occupational health and safety. I think yes, because well, it is. We have a kind of medical track where you look at at problems in medical, well, more medical oriented fields. So if you look at occupational health and safety, I think that is connected to it. And actually also we look at more behavioral sciences, social sciences. Yeah, I think it's not that unrelated to that. Yeah.
Okay, and Saskia, one person is curious if you could give a few more examples, a few concrete examples of jobs and positions that one might hold after finishing here, and what tasks they might experience in the job market.
Let's see. I know that there are students going to Danone for quite some students from our program, and then there they work in different areas of the research and development of that company. And some of them are really working in statistics because if they develop new food products, they have to compare different food products, and they have to set up studies and designing the studies, and and there is a lot of statistics also involved to doing it as efficient as probably. And then if the data is collected, you need to analyze it. There are also people far more in the high dimensional data, in what we call the omics data, because there's a lot of things going on in food, in looking at different components and microbiotic issues there. So then there are those big data people also. That's more in the data science, trying to find certain how do you say that, clustering or looking for contrasts, etc. There are people going to the PhDs in all kinds of different fields. So in the Leiden University medical center, for example, but also going to for example, there are some students going to, for example, the psychology department, working on projects there on, for example, those MRI data, or looking more at psychological tests and developing and new methods regarding that. There are people going to Wageningen doing either PhDs or going to companies connected to the agricultural field. where also a lot of research is going on to make producing food more efficiently. There are people going, because we have also that EMOS master track, there are people going to central statistics, where in fact all the data from the Netherlands is being collected, and there is currently a lot of, because it's the big data, there's a lot of things going on also there in making that data also more available for doing research. So that's real big data because it's from everyone, students going into those directions. There are also students going more in the data science, in consulting companies. So those are the things, so some of the examples: pharmaceutical industry, developing new drugs, etc. Those are some of the examples.
Great, thank you. That was quite a broad overview of the various positions that our graduates have gone into. Katie, a question for you. How did the transition go from a more biology-oriented program to a more mathematics-intense program go?
It was challenging. And I want to be careful with that answer though, because I feel like if I had known it would be as challenging as it was for me, I don't know if I would have had the courage to do it, but I don't regret it at all. Like, I'm very glad that I didn't know it was going to be that hard. But I think it's really dependent on what your focus was in your biology degree. There's this one student that I'm thinking of right now in our program who is incredible at like everything he touches, and he is a biology student. That's and he didn't even really have a focus in math in his undergraduate. It just happens to be what his interests are. So I think it's I will say that if you didn't have that much of a math focus, like, you will just have to put in more work, which is fine. But yeah, the first semester it was kind of intense, but it's okay. And I'm very happy in my program. And it's really nice, especially having sort of gotten over the threshold of the first semester to now be sitting in classes. So for us, I'm taking study design right now, and then to hear lectures about things that I remember learning from my biology degree, and then having sort of a level of application that maybe some of my other classmates don't have, which makes that course, even just through interest, maybe more, or maybe easier than it would be if I had studied economics, for example. So yes, it is challenging with the technical skills, but I think in terms of application, it can even make it easier in certain contexts.
Great, thank you. Saskia, one prospective student says or asks how well will this program fit as a follow-up for a bachelor in artificial intelligence? And furthermore, do you use programming languages other than R, or could you comment on that as well?
Well, our focus is on the computing language R, but we also, in the second semester, we have a class on essentials for data science, and there you will also learn Python, because Python is the language most often used by data scientists. So those two computer languages, you will learn both. If you are coming from artificial intelligence, then the new thing for you is looking specifically at applications more in the, well, it is the psychology and the social, there artificial intelligence also plays a big role. So the applications there are probably the ones you are most interested in. But you will also see a lot of applications from biology, from agricultural sciences, from biomedical sciences. So you will see that. So I think that's well, that will broaden maybe also your perspective. You will see also a lot of examples there. And actually also in medicine, artificial intelligence, it's recognizing patterns, CT scans, or other pathology, how do we say that, biopsies. Also in the medical field, artificial intelligence is becoming more and more. But yeah, in our program, we're not focusing on, we are the more in the statistics and the data science.
Great,
We do
thank
have
you.
at least one student in our program who did artificial intelligence or data science and AI in their undergraduate, and they seem to be having a good time. So.
Yes, I encourage anyone in such a situation to also look at the online prospectus for our course and the courses that we offer, and also just to consider looking at one of the computer science programs just to compare the two and the different focuses there. A question for Ifan. What are your experiences regarding the study pressure of this master?
For me, I think in the first semester, in first year, I have to be very devoted because I think the math intensity is strong. But I feel once you keep devoted, the pressure will become less. But of course, still in a certain level of the intensity. But I think the first semester is kind of very important, and that's the reason why Professor Saskia suggests it's ideal for students joining the fall season. And yeah, and also I want extra information about why I think the Netherlands application is more friendly is because there's a system called Study Link. If you want to make enrollment, you use this Study Link and make everything very organizable. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the answer. Katie, do you agree with that? Did you find in your first semester that you still had time to explore the city or the country?
I think our situation was a little bit different as well with the COVID restrictions. So it kind of feels like it didn't matter. But I think, yeah, I think there would have definitely been time for that. And I think it's also necessary. I mean, you can't really devote 100% of the time to studying because then you don't have time to sort of let the information settle in your brain. So it's good practice and time management skills for sure, if you want to do everything.
Okay, well, thank you very much. A quick question for Saskia. Is it required to have any prior programming experience?
No, 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 no. We start from scratch. No. But what is being required is that you have done some classes in mathematics or in statistics or in methodology. So I think that most of you will have done at least already some data analysis also, and you may have used a software package like SPSS or Stata, or maybe already you have used R a little bit. So, but it's not that we expect you already to really be able to write programs. No, that's what we are going to learn you.
Thank you. A question for both of our students. What courses in your first semester really helped you to develop your mathematical skills, or which ones were also the most challenging? And also, if you could say what your favorite courses so far and why. Perhaps we could start with Katie.
Can we start with Ifan?
Sure.
Sure. I think the first course called Mathematics for Statistics is very important because it kind of teach you the calculus and linear algebra. And these two courses are, these two subjects are very important because the following courses like the linear regression and high dimension data analysis, they all use the calculus and linear algebra. And in terms of my favorite course, I think I would say Bayesian statistics, because how do I say that? I think the concept of Bayesian statistics is very interesting, and also, at least in the lecture I took, they also apply some numerical method to make predictions based on the Bayesian concept, and I found this part very, very attractive. And I think if you like Bayesian, you will like this lecture. Yeah.
Okay, now that I've thought about it a little, I think the mathematics for statisticians is definitely very useful. Although I think a lot of students will have already covered a lot of the material. And there are a lot of online resources as well for you to sort of cover that beforehand if you want to practice a little bit before you start. But surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, I found the probability part of the probability and statistics course really interesting because there's so many things which I guess in retrospect, feel like they should have been obvious, but were not obvious to me at all. And just having sort of a good command of that at first, while it was a lot of information overflow for me, seeing it come up in other courses is really cool. So I think from the first semester, that was probably the most interesting course for me. And then now in the second semester, I think the most interesting course is the study design course so far. I think it's really cool. So.
Great, thank you. Katie, perhaps we could stay with you just for a moment. For any prospective students, especially one coming from a similar background as yourself, is there any tips that you could give people if they want to prepare better or for their application?
For preparation, I would probably go through maybe an online R course if that's possible, but even probably more importantly, just covering basic, or not necessarily basic, depending on what your background is, but covering for like the intuition behind like derivation or integration, because if you're sort of learning those things as you're learning the rest of the material, that can be quite overwhelming. But I think the biggest thing for me is just sort of accepting the fact that you're going to have to ask questions that you feel like you should know the answers to. And if you can sort of just get over that initial hesitation of feeling like you know much less than some of your peers, then I think you'll be totally fine in the master's. So you can just ask questions and be like, this might sound stupid, but here's the question. And you'll just find that it's not that big of a deal.
Thank you. And Yvonne, your background was in public, was in public finance.
Yes.
Yes. Is there any tips that you could give for any prospective students coming from a similar background that are relevant to your situation?
For me, I think the most important thing is that to show the passion of the statistics and data science. And also in my background, I think people may already take some calculus, probably linear algebra. And for me, I think the most important thing is that at least in the Netherlands, our course always have the TA sections, and I think it's important for people, if you have questions, just ask TA, they will help you. And based on my learning experience, these are very helpful, because sometimes you think you may not understand some question well. After discuss with your TA, and problem solved. So I think, yeah, the most important thing is to discuss your question with your TA.
Yeah, sort of onto that as well. I feel that the way that you study in biology, oftentimes some things are through repetition, whereas I think in math it's more through doing. Like you try to implement things and then it doesn't work, and then you figure out what you did wrong, and then next time you've got it. And so yeah, that for sure. And then just as Ethan said, using the resources that are available to you. Sometimes you'll show up to the exercise sessions and there's just the TA, which is a free tutoring session. So just really being aware of what resources are available to you and then taking advantage of them.
Thank you. Saskia, we've heard a lot about how this master's applies to medical and behavioral sciences. How would it apply to somebody with a background in one of the physical sciences like astronomy? Would it make sense to use this program as a way to broaden their knowledge for application in astronomy, or are there in this case better master programs to choose from?
I think if you really want to apply it to astronomy, I would think that you could also go to a more mathematical oriented master and then looking if there is a statistics track there, because you have then already done your bachelor with a lot of statistics and you really want to focus more on astronomy. I think that is more. We are coping a lot with the problems with which you have. For example, if you are working with experiments with humans, where you have to think about there's a lot of variability. You are actually also you may either do experiments yourself, giving some people drugs and others not, of another intervention, or you may use a lot of those new of big data which are now coming available to analyze and to make conclusions about. So that's our focus. Although I also know someone who started as with a bachelor in medicine, then she switched to mathematics, and she ended up also analyzing all kinds of astronomy data with a lot of black holes. So it is possible, but I think you could also explore other things. But you are very welcome. But our examples will be more oriented in other fields, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for all the questions, everyone. I'm afraid we're slightly out of time. So thank you very much for joining. For anyone who is interested, Leiden University is also organizing city tours and science campus tours from the 15th until the 31st of March. Information on how to sign up can be found on the website. If we haven't been able to answer one of your questions, then please ask it via the live chat. We are available to answer questions until at least 16:30. You can also email us any questions. Please contact us via the email address pr@stat.leidenuniv.nl or Unibuddy via the website if you have a question for any current students. Thank you very much.